If you've ever gone on a weekend golf trip with the boys and come back to the market and perhaps the entire world falling apart on Monday, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We are back. A lot of stuff happened. It's absolutely crazy. We're going to do our best to break it down. Let's go ahead and get it done.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks. Hello and welcome back. I hope that you got rest this weekend. I hope that you enjoyed it because it looks like we are going to have a wild day on our hands. To try and make sense of it all, we're going to bring on my main man, 13. 13, first of all, how are you doing and how was your weekend? But also, how was Friday? I'm sorry I missed that.
Oh, Friday was fun. The chat was, and us and Zunaid and I, we had a great time. There was some trading that we did. We were,
awesome.
Playing the market, I guess mostly to the downside. There were some movers, but we're doing things like normal. We even had Aaron Bree come on, so it was a good time. And now the market is in utter chaos, and I love it.
Okay. Well, you know what? First of all, I'm glad that you guys had fun. And frankly, if you were trading to the downside on Friday, you should be ready for what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here today. Remember, markets don't generally bottom on Fridays, so whenever you see something like that,
it's market has a case of the Mondays.
The Office Space reference, I'm here for it. Yeah. This market has a case of the Mondays. Okay, let's dive right in here to the SPY. We talk a lot about levels here on this show. Obviously, we're having a huge gap down here. It does look like Friday we did try to bounce and kind of hold that 100-day moving average. But today, obviously, that is all out the window as we're gapped halfway down to the 200. So I'm just going to start there, 13. I'd like to know from you and also from the group if you have anybody, or if you have any thoughts on what's going on here. I'd like to know what levels you're looking at and then what you think today is going to look like. 13, before you dive into this here, I also want to say that on days like today, it is going to, if you don't understand what's going on, or if you're worried, or if you feel like you're not thinking straight, it's okay to just kind of sit it out and let some of that pass you. You don't have to be a hero. Now, on the flip side of that, there's likely going to be a lot of action. And a lot of movement and a lot of volatility. And if you want to capture that, giddy up. But don't feel like you have to participate if you don't feel comfortable. It's okay to catch up on some sleep or go to the gym. 13, what do you have here for levels?
Well, it blew through a whole bunch of them over the weekend. So the one that was interesting to me this morning was how we hit the 10% correction level, which on the SPY is going to be at 508 and 64 cents. The next 5% down will be 15% correction, and that's going to be at 480 and 39 cents, which is interestingly enough right around the same area as the 2022 high that we held for a while, which was 479 and 98 cents. So about 40 cents difference there. So that's going to be a couple of major downside targets. I don't know that we're going to get the 15%, but the way this momentum's going, it's still possible. Now, if we're going to trade back up, I think that one of the first stops we'll be making at is going to be at 515.50, and then maybe even 518.30. Those are going to be the two upside targets I'm just going to put out there today. If we go higher, then we can talk about 521, but I don't know that we're going to rebound that high today. It could be a choppy day. I really don't know how today's going to play out, but those are some levels that I have. We could also go, keep going down lower to the 200-day SMA, which is down near 500. But that would be an even bigger move than we've already got this morning. I don't think that's going to happen either. So pretty much the correction level and those other two upside levels that I mentioned, that's about where I'm looking at today.
Okay. And now it is worth noting here, I saw, what was it? Shaka, I think. Where I saw a comment here that looks like, not Shaka, Kansas Candy saying Nvidia on the crawl back up. SPY is off the lows here. So I think, one of the things we're going to be looking at here is, do we just kind of continue to the downside, or do we actually bounce here today? And if you think we're going to actually continue to the downside, does a bounce represent a potential short entry? These are things that we're going to be watching for, not only just the index, but also any other individual names like Nvidia. Now, 13. We can go to the movers tool if you want, but it's kind of sparse today, especially to the upside.
Yeah, it really is. And the thing that came across my scanners more than anything else, of course, are these bear ETFs. So, you're going to see SQQ on there. You're going to see UXVY on there. You're going to see a lot of the short ETFs on the scanner. And so we could try those. We could definitely get some levels, but they're not the type of thing that we normally trade in the morning here because of their lack of volume and volatility. So really, I don't know if we want to get into that or not. That's just we'll get some tickers on the screen, or we'll get some from the chat, and we'll see what we can find with that. But I don't have a list of anything this morning because everything that I was looking at was either the bear ETFs or some kind of SPAC that was just mentioned that they closed the deal, or some acquisition. So, and then everything else is just the penny stocks, like under $1 that I don't even really trade. So sorry, I don't have really anything for you this morning.
No, it's okay.
I'm gonna have fun here.
It's totally okay. And chat, absolutely love it. This is exactly what we were looking at here. Shaka saying, wait for the dust to settle. Right. Yeah. I know. Devil was asking if Amazon is a good buy. And so the answer here was about that. But the reality is that this is good advice anyway. Wait for the dust to settle. Wakimi is saying here, I think a bounce is short entry. So there you go. Jay Rice pointing out that the VIX just dropped 9 from the highs right ahead of the open here. Looks like it's actually over 10 points now as that has continued here. Douglas, spot on. VIX is at 60. You don't short. So we'll see where we end up going here today. Like I said, there's no reason to try and be a hero. Kind of waiting this out, waiting for the dust to settle, or waiting for the right entry seems to be the good point. Now, real quickly here, I am just going to roll through some of these names so we're a little bit familiar with what's going on. MGOL, which is MGO Global. We've traded this before right off the relative volume scanner. This is in play here today in terms of its movement. I don't see any news, so this really kind of just feels like trading action. Do you have anything on MGOL? I don't think you have any on any of these, do you? Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to run through them real quick, and then we can go take a look at some of the bigger charts here just to focus on the task at hand, if you will. ThoughtWorks Holdings. This is ticker TWKS. ThoughtWorks Holdings shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 sales results and announced it agreed to be taken private. So no trade here. That's why this is gapping up. That's why this looks all nice. But if it's being taken private here, no trade on that one. NVD, these are going to be some of those ETFs that 13 mentioned. BIDI, SOXS, all of those, TSLZ, all of those. The one actual stock in here is going to be ticker K. This is Kellanova. Kellanova shares are trading higher following a report suggesting Mars is considering the acquisition or an acquisition of the company. So this is not finalized here. This is up pretty big, up 19% here today. A stock that's up 19% on a day that we're getting blasted, I'm not sure that's a really good buy, but would love to hear what you folks are taking a look at here today. That's about it for the movers. I guess ZVRA, this popped and retraced most of the move. We'll see if this gets rolling here today. But as far as the upside movers, that is about it. All right. 13, was there any individual name that you wanted to take a look at before we open here? I would throw the same question out to the chat. Is there anything out there that you folks would want to take a look at?
So Voodoo was asking about Zim, and he cited the Middle East heating up, retaliation by Iran. There's going to be a White House meeting about it today. I think this price action we're getting today is providing some opportunity here, but it's not necessarily at the levels that I had mentioned last week that I'd like to get back into this. It is trading down pretty good. I think it's down to 1750 right now. That's still above where I want to be for a long position. So this is not really where I'm looking to enter. Also, keep in mind if you got to monitor those Drury shipping rate. The website that provides the shipping rates, because that's going to give you an idea of just how expensive shipping is getting, and Zim's revenue is based upon those shipping rates. So that's going to help you determine when to get in or when not to be in it. Right now, I'm not in it. I want to be in it lower to somewhere between 13 and 15.50. That'd be a better spot for me, in my opinion. But sorry, hope that helps, Voodoo. We can talk more about it in happy hour chat as well when I'm done with this show.
Okay. Good stuff there. Okay, I do see some stocks in here, so let's go ahead and run through them real quick. I apologize if I missed some of them here. I'm going to start with the ones that jumped off the page. Start here with IREN. Talked about buying this one not long ago. Actually made some pretty decent money off of it, but this to me is kind of off the table until we see the Bitcoin market stabilize. I've got the Bitcoin futures 50,300, 55,300. Bitcoin down 20% here this morning. So doesn't look like Bitcoin is a gold analog, right? Looks like it is acting more like the NASDAQ right now than anything else. Bitcoin getting absolutely destroyed. To me, that kind of puts some of these Bitcoin related plays off the table or makes them more of just kind of day traders if you have some type of quick plan on that.
I would have thought this kind of fear would have been good for Bitcoin. So there's some other issues going on that not seeing.
And again, that kind of just goes to, why don't we just let the dust settle, right? Yeah. Like if you know what's going on and you feel really strongly about it, great. But otherwise, nothing wrong with letting the dust settle here. Christopher is asking about team. This is Atlassian. Chris, I don't know what it, you didn't give me any context there, it looks like, but basically, this thing to me, this again, like my answers are going to be very, very similar. I don't think this is a buy the dip. I really don't. First of all, I don't necessarily see us at any type of support level yet. Maybe we're at a one here, but to me, man, let the dust settle. Like what's the strategy for just kind of buying here? Maybe this comes in more to one of those other levels. You got any thoughts on Team 13? Or any other ticker you want to go to from the chat here?
Not really. I think that like what you're saying about I don't even think that these dips are really worth buying unless you're just going to do a day trade or a short in and out. I think that they could be traps. Just be careful when we're trading today. I don't think that we're going to rebound and start trading all the way back up. We could just get a short-term bounce and end up going lower. So let's just maybe sit on our hands a little bit. If something looks really good, we'll trade it. If not, let's just protect our capital today.
Yeah, and if you that's a really good piece of advice, 13. If you absolutely want to trade, that's fine, but just have a plan. Like recognize the environment that we're in and be very, very nimble. This is not the day to be taking positions where you have to wait 2 years to get out of. Mm-hmm. Believe me, sitting on hands, not a bad thing, especially like today. Just to kind of button it up on this team chart. I'd actually want this to go a little bit lower here. Smoke Tuna. Oops, we missed you last week, Ryan. The show is just not the same without you. That hits me right here in the heart, Smoke Tuna. I'm glad to hear that. I really appreciate. I'm going to send a shout out to Zunaid and 13. It's nice to be able to have a day off, and the weekend that I had was really, really well needed. So 13 and Zunaid, if he's out there, I really appreciate it. We will always try to create an environment that is educational as well as entertaining. So on days like today, you can at least feel like there's a place you can go talk about what's going on. The world's not ending. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. So in the meantime, let's try and be as entertained and as educated as possible.
Yeah, we just got a red sunrise today. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Chris says I'm sitting on hands. Jeff, you said good idea. Jeff, I noticed that you said you were in all cash earlier. You got the win of the day, right? You got the win of the day. This is actually something our happy hour group has been talking about, the varying levels of cash. 13, I know you've been part of that as well. There's varying levels of cash holdings for people. We had one of our 40-year veteran traders say, I'm pretty much all cash. I can't remember the last time I've had such little stock in my portfolio. So if you're in all cash, you're in really, really good shape. Again, your job right now is to just kind of wait and let the dust settle. If you want to take little things to try and keep the lights on, fine. But make sure that we kind of wait all this stuff out. Okay, sorry for me babbling. Let me start going to some more charts here real quick. Thinking about it. Good morning. Great to see you. Notice you were asking about shop. Again, unfortunately, I think that what I want to say about all of these stocks is going to be the same. Just kind of wait it out. If you're looking for a potential trade here, I mean, gosh, I'm almost thinking Momo trades to the downside are the way to go, especially if we bounce and really can't clear out levels. I don't feel good about dip buying any of these things. Shop, the next downside level that really kind of sticks out like a sore thumb here to me is going to be 45.5. Looks like we already did get some support there at 49, which would have been the top end of this gap range. So I think those levels probably come back, or it looks like we're at 49 now. I think that next level might come into play here today. But again, this is not one that I'm looking to just buy right out here.
There's a couple of questions that I want to
help me out. Yeah.
First one, Shaka, he's asking about TENK. This is a special acquisition company that just got a shareholder approval to combine with Citius Pharma for their oncology technology. This to me is a done move. We might see a little bit of a pop, but very, very seldomly after the approval do you see SPACs run into new highs. What will happen now is, now that the combination has been approved, is that you're going to see these unwind. These SPACs will de-SPAC in a sense. You'll see you'll have to take a look at the filings. But the redemptions still need to happen. You're going to see a lot of unwinding in these SPACs. And most of the time, they do not go up. They go down, and they sometimes become a penny stock. Very few examples where there was a SPAC with a successful combination that soared after its merger. One such one is DraftKings. That's one of the only ones that come to mind. I can think of a whole bunch of other SPACs that did not fare as well as that. So when it comes to these, I think this move may be over. You might get a little bit of pop in the day, but I wouldn't touch this one. I think this move is done. So that's my thought on it.
Okay, really good stuff there. And by the way, while you were mentioning DraftKings there, I figured I'd bring up a chart here. Shout out, Hard Knocks Chicago Bears starts tomorrow at 9 Eastern, but that's neither here nor there. Looking at DraftKings here, yikes. I'm sure a lot of the charts look like this. Maybe we're going to test this 500-day. That trend line really served as pretty good rejection. We'll see where we go here on some of these.
There could be some really attractive utility and consumer defensive names that might be tradable today, since those are going to be the sectors that recession cautious people or traders are going to start rotating into. So you'll see the industrials, the military industrials aren't looking as strong today, but utilities and consumer defensives do look much stronger, and maybe a handful of some of the health insurance companies. But I would stay away from the health insurance companies in my opinion. Okay. Real quickly here.
Ramraz saying sell everything. This is one thing. All right, so I know you're kind of laughing about that, but I will say I think that the real smart thing to do is to just not emotionally react to things like that. If there are some things that you have gains on that you want to sell today because you want to raise more cash, I'm not going to argue with you. But in terms of just kind of reacting to what we see here instantly and just making sweeping movements like that, I think that largely is going to hurt you more than help you. I do understand wanting to lighten in times like these. Again, just think through it clearly. Try not to just emotionally react. I know it's easier said than done. I know.
No, I'm laughing at Jay Rice's comment. He says I'm late on XLU. You want to tell him how on XLU I've been?
Yeah. I mean, you've been on that for years. We've said that. Jay doesn't join the happy hour. I mean, give him a break though. He doesn't join the happy hour. You do a lot of the discussion on the happy hour show. This is not a new thing for 13.
Oh man,
he's been on that from the very beginning.
Utilities are doing good for me right now. Jay,
hang on, Bob. I'm not ignoring you. Thoughts on HE with yesterday's news? I'm sorry, man. I'm not caught up on that. 13. If you are, you're welcome to talk about this. If there's anyone else in the chat, Bob, I'll try and get to this at some point here today. I don't want to give you an uneducated opinion, so I'm just going to be honest and tell you I don't know. Give me a chance to read that over, and I'll try and come up with something, okay?
It's a it's a $4 billion settlement with Maui wildfire plaintiffs. So I guess the question is like, how is this going to impact their stock? Is this good for the stock? Now that they have a figure attached to, the damage that was caused? I can't give you a good answer right now because it's going to require doing some math. But as soon as long as here's the other thing, it needs to actually get approved or accepted too. This is they reach a settlement. Okay, so they just need court approval is what I'm getting at. So once that happens, then we can start having that discussion about whether or not this is going to start taking off now. And it looks at the moment like it could be, but I don't want to make that statement that this is now the time to buy in it. It might be, but I don't want to make that statement because I'm not sure.
Okay.
Amanda's funny. My middle name is XLU.
Which one? Sorry, I'm
Amanda Gibbons. It's a little known fact, but she might be right.
Oh, your middle name is X. No wonder you haven't been telling me. Now that makes a lot of sense. I know we got some questions here about Nvidia. This is probably the big the elephant in the room, as they say. I was actually talking to one of my trader friends that said, if this really gets worse, Nvidia is one of those stocks that can absolutely get cut in half from where it's at, and maybe even cut in half again. There was some news here regarding the Blackwell chips. They're going to be delayed, I guess. Did you have?
There's a Reuters article that I linked in the happy hour chat, but here I can try to see if I can pull it.
I'll get it. I'll pull it.
But yeah, they're the next set of AI chips, which is the Blackwells. They're supposed to be replacing the I think they're called the H100s. That's been delayed due to a design flaw they found late in the development process. So they have to kind of backtrack quite a bit. And because some of these other Mag 7 companies were, expecting delivery of those this year, and now it's pushed out to maybe Q1, Q2 next year, that's going to delay all those Mag 7 companies from getting those chips. So now you have a situation where a handful of companies that most of the market is parked in are now going to have to push back their projections. So I think that's going to really cause a lot of unwinding in the market when you have, because this affects like most of the market now, this whole Blackwell fiasco. So if we're not getting chips for at least another 2 more quarters, and we're open, then I think that's going to be some bad news for the Mag 7 trade.
Oh, indeed, we are open here. Remember, Nvidia had a lot of pull through on some of those really huge earnings beats, and if some of that starts to come out, this thing can really sink. Okay, let me flip over to Trade the Pool. We will do our best to make sense of what's going on here. As a reminder, the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool, so if you need help getting above the 25K day trading threshold or simply need some more dry powder, check them out. They're great. All right, back to the market. Good luck, everybody. Let's be safe here today. Let's try and just do things that make sense. Let's not try and be heroes here today. I'm going to run through just a couple of stocks here. You guys call out stuff that you see.
Parker, Sink or Swim, 416. More like it can happen? Sure. It looks more like 403 could even happen. Let's see. 413.75 is about the bottom of in April. So that would be the first level I'd be looking for downside, which is just, it's still lower than the 416 you're talking about, but certainly looks like we could end up going there to find a bottom. So we'll see. But currently trading beneath the 200-day SMA. And this is just last week I was saying I bet every one of these index ETFs could get to their 200-day SMA by November. Looks like it's going to be a little bit sooner than that.
MGOL here, that one of those small caps that was on the mover scanner, doesn't really seem to care about the market sell-off as it popped above its range and went to just above 4, just knifing right back down to the VWAP here. Again, careful. Just be careful. I saw Nvidia, looks like it completely gave up that bounce that we were getting in the pre-market. We've now set new lows here on Nvidia. I would expect this from some other names as well. Oh my God, this is driving me insane, dude. Come on. Let me center the ticker. Apple. This actually is bouncing. This was weak all pre-market, and it's bouncing here out of the open. I'm just kind of looking around at anything else. You folks, let me know what it is that you say. Fairchild asking for Palantir, PLTR.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love for this to kind of, how many times have we talked about that, 13? Some of these stocks that we want to own for the long term, bring them on in. That would be great. Costco would be another one, at least for me here.
Yeah, this is actually Palantir is actually in a bit of a demand zone right now that we've put in between April and June. So here would be an interesting and not, to be honest, a great spot to turn around. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but if we do turn around here, this would be a great spot to do it.
We're right at the 200.
Yeah, we are. And it's, everything's going to be oversold. So I would anticipate there's going to be some bounces this week, but let's temper expectations. I don't think that anything that looks like it's going to start turning around is going to turn around this week. I think we need to just kind of be careful and see, try not to catch a falling knife, folks. That's basically the point.
Yeah, I think that's really smart here. Definitely don't try and catch a falling knife. Okay. Let me go back here real quick. So I wanted to address this real quick. Robert Wilco saying SOXL, be brave. Now, real quick, on a day like today, the line between brave and stupid can be very, very fuzzy. So just be careful about that. On the flip side, Robert's right. If everyone seems to think, gosh, there's more downside coming, and you're able to catch a really good bottom in one of these levered ETFs, that is going to take being brave. There is no question about it, and it could make for a good trade. But again, no matter what you do here today, make sure that you have a plan for both directions, because the volatility is likely to be crazy. Amanda's making another good point here. I think we had a lot of sell side imbalances at the open. It needs to pair off and chill out a little bit. Chill out. That should be kind of a theme of the day here. I think we'll all make better decisions as long as we do that. Sava getting called by Jane. Let's take a look. Sava actually trading up here. Relative strength should be should be easy to find on a day like today. Zim a little bit lower here. Let me check the regular market here. SPY, is this having a tough time getting above its VWAP? Let's see.
Brupiter's Dave. If there's anything that's going to be worth sticking around for, it's how funny the chat can be. I mean, I don't know that we're going to find like the greatest trades today. There's going to be some, I'm sure, but I have you guys entertain me until we find them.
I'll be honest. When I first started getting into this business, on days where there were really nasty sell-offs, it was chat rooms that would often allow me to like stay centered, right? Like, it's when you see a ton of red arrows and your entire portfolio is down except for the one short position that you have, like that can be really kind of taxing, and being able to kind of laugh at other things, really, really important, especially on a day like today. We are, looks like Nvidia here did bounce above its VWAP. So I'm curious to know from the group here, those of you that are day trading, what are we looking at here? Are we looking for more potential shorts? Are we giving it just kind of more time to shake out? Do we think that everything returns to the lows? Like, I'm curious as to what you guys are kind of setting up here for a trade. What are you looking at to determine whether or not it's, maybe some more downside here in a potential short, or do we keep bouncing and do we keep playing a bounce here?
What's been interesting over the past several trading days is FAZ. That's just been, kind of, it trades up to a simple moving average. And that's kind of where it stops for the day. And then the next day it goes up to the next simple moving average. Then it stops for the day. That's what it's been doing. That's what it did Thursday and Friday. If it continues today, it's going to the 200, which is going to, which I don't think will happen. But if it does, it's going up to the 270 or 1270. I mean, not likely to happen, but just something I thought that was interesting. It just keeps, kind of gapping up and hitting the simple moving averages on the way up.
Okay. Ray is saying, I'm looking for SPY to retest the $500 level. So amazing. You're looking for SPY to kind of roll back over and test 500 before you look for longs. I think that's what I'm gathering from you. That makes sense to me.
I'd like to see that too.
13, we've been saying for a while, we really want to see this market kind of come in. And I'll be honest, the other thing here, if this happens quickly, that would be, I almost feel like that would be even better, right? If we get this sell-off and we get this correction, whatever you want to call it, if we get that and we get it quickly, I think that really kind of sets us up for some decent long side trades. Let's see if that's the case here. ZVRA, this is one of those smaller stocks that was kind of off the scanner. This is ramping here. So we'll see if this gets rolling here. Robert saying it's a total. Let me make sure. Stock sell from 23.20 working good. Here, let me bring it up on screen here, Robert. That is awesome. Robert saying it is a total overreaction. Okay, so it looks like you're trying to do contrarian trade. This works out for me a lot of the time, Robert. So kudos to you for bucking the trend and not just going with the herd here. I'm glad you're getting rewarded on this trade. 23.20, God, we're several points above that. Really good stuff. Nvidia continuing to bounce here as well. Let me bring up Nvidia. The big thing that I don't want to have happen is I don't want to get sucked into a trap. So we are bouncing here. SPY, Qs, Nvidia, Apple, all of the usual suspects are bouncing here. The one thing that I really don't want to have happen is buy into a bounce only to have us turn around and re-slam those lows. So, Jay, yeah, go ahead. Really quick. Let me just read this here and I'll go to you. Jay here saying, fear creates opportunity. Just manage your risk.
Yep.
Jay, excellent job using a very few words. I was trying to explain this earlier. You did it with less words. This is exactly right.
So with Nvidia, here's the thing I'd want to be careful about. We are filling the gap to the upside right now. Now this gap fills at, if you're looking at Friday, it's going to fill at 101.37. If you're looking
sorry, which ticker? Nvidia? Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking at May 23rd, when we created this gap initially, then you're looking for it to fill at 101.52. So let's call it 101.50 that we're going to see Nvidia run up to probably intraday. And find resistance there. I think that if we fill this gap, we're going to see some resistance. So just keep in mind that we are filling a gap here in Nvidia. We could go all the way over, a little bit over 100, and then that could be it before we see some more downside. So just keep that in mind as well.
Okay, Nvidia looks like it stopped right there at 97. Oh, I think it ran through. So Nvidia continuing here. SPY continuing. SPY above the VWAP. Robert saying my ASML. Robert, I feel like you trade ASML every single day. I feel like every day you are on this stock. This is bouncing with the rest of the market here, moving on up. CLSK. So Bitcoin, what's big? So Bitcoin did, wow, Bitcoin has already bounced 2,000 points, just crossed 52,000 on the futures. Bitcoin firming up here a bit. I can't seem to lose today. Not going to push my luck. Robert, knock on wood, please. Dude, you really don't want to be jinxing yourself. That's awesome, but don't jinx yourself.
Yeah, hey, if you won in this market environment, enjoy yourself. Have a good day.
Amanda, you know the Melvin stocks behaved just fine when the market had a hissy fit. Indeed. Those are actually the least affected stocks in my portfolio at the moment. So I will take that. That's why we go with some of those. All right. Also, SMCI. You know what? There's a stock that was in the 500 handle, wasn't it? There's a stock we haven't looked at yet. We didn't even look at this in the pre-market here. So here's your, well, it's coming.
Let's see.
I mean, I think Daddy Backstrap saying anyone else having issues with Fidelity. That's the other thing. It seems like these brokers all love to have their malfunctions on days that are really freaking important. So be careful. If your broker's not doing anything, be really, really careful because things can change here. Here is SMCI. This is bouncing off the lows. This up 20 points off the lows already here. Nice looking bounce for the market. Let's see if this slows down at all or if we keep going. My scanner in Pro is all filled with ETF VIX stuff.
Yeah.
It is just wild.
Yeah. SMCI, this could get back up to 600. The RSI is really super low. I don't think it's been this low for a long while. It looks like not since April of 22 was it this low. So I think that there could be a bounce and a retracement back up to maybe even the 200-day SMA, but getting back over that is a whole other ball game that we are probably going to discuss today because I don't think it'll happen. But that's what I'd be looking for a bounce in SMCI because the RSI is so low, I think that we could get some buyers to come in and trade it back up to.
Keep in mind here, Wellness Matters saying SMCI reporting after the bell. Actually, it reports tomorrow after the bell, but Same point being made here. If you are going to play this, factor that in as well. SMCI reports tomorrow. Fidelity and Webull not working well. We've got reports of that. Thinkorswim isn't opening for me. Anyone else? I am in Thinkorswim. I opened it in the pre-market. It works fine. I haven't executed any trades in my main portfolio yet, so I can't tell you about execution. But quoting, loading, logging in, all of that stuff was okay for me here this morning.
Looks like there's some turning around in the queues a little bit here. Somebody was asking about how to get to happy hour, and that is a Benzinga Pro exclusive. So if you sign up, you join us Monday through Thursday. We have after the bell.
Yep. MGOL. So the one mover from the list here looks like so far that has worked. If you guys were taking this, I would definitely at minimum trim into this move. It'd be great to start a day off with a win. That's for sure. Like things are. Did that Q's bounce stop yet? I'm just sorry. I'm looking around at a bunch of different screens here. So we'll see if we set some new highs here on the Q's.
That's awesome, Crow. I'm having a good day.
Let's go. Oh no, I gotta change that. Way to go, Crow. Way to go, Crow. Way to go. Crow, what are you trading? I mean, if it's your best day and it's one to remember, give us the tickers you're trading, bro. Don't be holding out on us. Bounce continuing here.
Archer got down to 350 in pre-market. Now it's almost a 380. I think this was a pretty good dip buy. This is Archer's almost online with their manufacturing plant for I forget where it's located, but they're supposed to be producing 680 vehicles out of that one plant. I want to say it's Georgia, but I don't think that's correct. That's supposed to come online later this year, so looking forward to that. How are your you still had some Disney puts, right?
Yes, I still have Disney. I still have those. I'm thinking now that let's see. Now I'm well over 100% gain on the Disney puts. I think that I'll probably trim some of this here today, but I've got those don't expire till November 13. My puts don't expire till November. They're 80 puts. So if this continues at all and the Disney bear thesis continues to play out, I mean, I'm going to have more. I'm going to have more runway on this. So I'm not in a rush. And you know what else, 13? The only green position I got in my portfolio here today. So we're going to let that one ride and kind of balance out some of the blood that we're getting from the other ones.
Oh, the cheese. Thank you for confirming that the plant where they're making the Archer aviation vehicles is in Georgia.
Okay. Awesome. Toss has been good all morning till now. I cannot get into the TSL mobile. Oh, the Thinkorswim. Is that what you mean by that? I'm not even dealing with the mobile app on a day like today. That would me is not something I'm looking to do. Tyson reported earnings here this morning. Again, if you've you know what, forget it. Tyson did report earnings here. It is going higher, but what's more important, it seems, is the Q's bounce is continuing. Nvidia now like 6 points up off the lows there.
Hey, Tyson has a new 52-week high. All right.
I don't understand the significance there. You're going to have to draw me a map.
A new 52-week high in Tyson means that the report
was that something you were expecting? I mean, I know what a new 52-week high. I know the significance there. Is that something that you were expecting? Or?
Oh, well, it's something I was looking forward to. I mean, we talked about Tyson a lot about how, where the bottom might be. And I started adding when we started getting close to there, but we didn't quite get to where I wanted to go fully into this. But so I have some Tyson. I've been holding on to it since October of last year. This, has the potential to get back up to what, 90s? It's just going to take some time. You just got to be patient with this one. But
that's one that you can feel pretty good about holding, to be quite honest with you.
Yep. I'm happy with it. So when I see it going higher, having good earnings, and I need to look into their report and see what they were saying, because they've been doing a lot of job cuts and shutting down of processing plants. So Just kind of curious to see what their outlook is right now.
ZVRA right now, Crow's looking at that. This actually looks like this is going to go. I may take some of this here. I may take a look here. 785 is the VWAP. We've come off the VWAP. See if this has any more upside strength here. This chart formation looks pretty good for maybe kind of taking this out. We'll see if we end up getting that though.
Like an 830 break or an 829, 830 break is what you're looking for, maybe?
Yeah, that would be. Let me get the exact value there. 820. Yep. 830. It looks like. Yep. Exactly.
All right, and then it's gonna looks like it's gonna try to go towards that 857, that pre-market high that we got, and then of course in after hours on Friday, this got up as high as 940.
Nvidia 99 print. Sorry for running you over there. Real quick. A lot going on. I apologize, guys. ZVRA looks nice. Buy at least 10 cents below. Do you mean 10 cent where it is right now? Oh, look at that. It just dropped 10. Smoke tuna. Obviously, you have some type of mind meld with the market going on, so we are super appreciative of you spending your time here. I had just mentioned Nvidia. This ripped through 99, pulled a little bit, but we're going right back through 99. Good bounce here in tech. Apple would be another one that we should mention. We didn't really talk about this in the open here, but Warren Buffett, I think, sold like half of his entire position in Apple, booking monster amounts of gains and growing his cash position to a ridiculous amount. Apple's still bouncing here, though. This is looking pretty good. Netflix doing the same thing. How's Meta doing? I haven't looked at a Meta chart here yet today. Meta is bouncing as well.
I'm being asked about Unity software. And this thing has just gotten hammered, hasn't it?
Glenn saying snag Chewy at its 200-day. I have its 200-day at 1977. We're almost back at 22 here. So if you were adding that down there, that was, that was an extremely good buy there. That was an extremely good buy, Glenn. And Glenn's out now. So Glenn, I can't remember. Is this one a core position for you? If so, this is a really good job around trading around your core. Really good buy there on Chewy. Stepping in the face of danger there and buying.
As far as Unity software goes, maybe finding a bottom here. I'll be honest. Your guess is as good as mine. And when I look at the company's financials, I'm not too enthusiastic about going long on a company that's losing hundreds of millions of dollars every quarter. It is attractive in the sense that it is at an all-time low, like you were saying. So if you're looking to play a bounce, I could see that, but this isn't something I'd want to go long on. There's still plenty of room below to go down more. So for me, this would be something that I would wait on until I have confirmation of a bottom, because if I'm going to go long on a company that loses this much money every quarter, I want to be sure that the bottom's in. That's just the way I would do it. So I'm sorry if that's not enough information, Purgatory, but to me, this isn't a stock that I would touch while it's losing that much money and in this environment right now. I'd wait for some confirmation of a bottom.
Yeah, you don't need to pick the bottom exactly, right? Like waiting for a confirmation is going to be a lot safer. Real quickly, let me mute that here real quick. Real quickly here, one thing, 6G. Oops, wrong comment. 6G, Buffett sold half his Apple over the entire quarter, not on Friday. I don't think that's what I said, but if I misspoke and implied that, thank you for the correction. I just mean that like that's been a long time, huge winner for him, and he is taking substantial gains at this point. So your point is well made. That wasn't just something that just took place on Friday. Okay, that was Glenn. That is not a core position for you. Okay, well, excellent job trading nonetheless. Chewy is a dog, pardon the pun. I actually thought the pun was pretty good there. Chewy has been a dog. The last earnings report or the one before really seemed to have changed, but we'll see if that sticks around here. Smoke Tuna mentioning IMRX, this coming up off the bottom. Nvidia looking like this wants to go higher, to be quite honest with you.
Well, where's it at now?
Slows down here.
Did it get up to the gap fill yet? Nope.
What was that gap fill level? Sorry.
101.50.
No, it did not print 101.50 yet.
Yep.
Nope. It did.
Yeah.
Did we actually get 100 prints though? No, not quite. We stopped just shy of 100. I was going to say, I didn't think so. Someone said it was going for 100, but I didn't think it actually printed it yet.
It could definitely hit 100 and go fill that gap that I was mentioning today. It's just I don't know that we're going to get a whole lot higher after that. And I know that some folks are looking at this thing going, this is an opportunity, and it could very well be an opportunity, but they're looking at this as an opportunity to go long and hold for a while. To me, I wouldn't want to be buying right here. There's still this could be just the very early innings of how this market's going to correct and take it down. So I'd be careful with Nvidia. Eventually, maybe it goes does really well and makes new all-time highs. I don't think that's happening anytime this week or maybe even this month.
I would be careful with any long that you take in this environment. Awesome to play these bounces. And frankly, folks, if you guys have played some of these bounces yet, great job here today. But I'd still be careful, especially on positions you're holding overnight. Alex, you were mentioning Chipotle here. Chipotle got back its late pre-market dip there. This actually, I mean, we'll see if this continues to trade up here. Volume's starting to dry off. So it looks like maybe that second leg down in the pre-market was the one traders are buying so far. We'll see if we end up getting back to green across the board so far. The bounce does look like it has kind of slowed down. We'll see if it takes another leg. VIX has melted 23 points from the highs. VIX had a high of 65 in the pre-market. It's currently 42 and change. So a big melt in the VIX there.
Also, institutional investors are not back from summer vacation yet. If this were like September or October, we'd probably have an even different trading environment. We might see the rebound even be more robust. The fact that we don't have all them back yet, and it's still the summer chop, you could very well see this market go right back down and just chop around for a bit. We don't have a lot of volume as much as we have had in the past. But once everybody's coming off of vacation, everybody's getting back into the swing of things. We have September coming up when St. Leger's days, that whole rhyme and everything. We're going to get some more market volatility coming into the fall, and we'll have more market participants in the fall as well.
You know what though, 13, you're absolutely right on everything that you just said here, but I'm looking at the SPY volume, almost 33 million shares already. When was the last time you remember a day where we've had this much this early?
Well, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And in fact, Friday how did Friday's volumes finish up? I feel like that was probably one of the busier days, and it wasn't even there.
It was a busier day. It was, let's see here. Just getting a read on what that volume was. That was 82 million shares. So not the busiest day, but it was a busier day. We've had some days in July, I think, where we, or maybe not July, but earlier this year, where we saw 100 million shares traded. Yeah, they're few and far between, but they're the most volatile days.
That was considerably over the average, but don't forget the average has been steadily coming down as we continue to put in these low volume days, day after day here. Nvidia bounced just back above 99 here. Someone had mentioned Intel is still dropping. Yeah, Intel not participating in this bounce. They got their own issues there. We talked a lot about Intel last week. I'm actually, they're talking about workforce reductions and cost cutting and all of this stuff. That's another Intel specific issue I'm going to let shake out. I think this is going to be a good buy at some point, but I'm in no rush to do that here today. None at all. You guys are all trading Nvidia, huh?
Well, I see some folks talking ASTS. Somebody, Smoke Tuna mentioning VC. Maybe VC is a good opportunity, but this doesn't look like the kind of stock I need to know more about it before I get into this one. The thing about ASTS, that's nice that it's holding up. They're supposed to launch this month, unless there's been some kind of delay or change, but they're supposed to launch their so that's what the news is today. AST Space Mobile gets FCC license to launch the satellites. That's great. So that might still be happening this month that they launch. And basically what they're putting up into the sky is a satellite system similar to Starlink's, so they can help AT&T and Verizon reach more rural customers in areas that don't have the landlines or cell towers.
Nvidia looks like this might try and go higher here. That little rip. I might try this through. Let me just say this. Yep, go through that high. Go through that high. Go through that high. Not yet. I'm going to try to be active. Look at that. I'm going to try to be active with some of these tickets here, especially if we're going to trade something like Nvidia. Unable to really break through that high. We'll see if I get that set up again. Took that off for flat. Let me know if any of you guys that are trading Nvidia or any of the tech names, what are you looking for here today? I'm kind of just looking at price action right now. I actually think this might fade. Fading this rip here on all of the beta movers. So comp. So this was it. So you're pretty much waiting out the start of that market. Now it looks like you might try a fade here. I'll tell you, Nvidia really dropped off from that attempt to move through the highs. And are we right back on? Huh? Nvidia volatile.
Yeah. Well, then
I know I'm hearing a lot of you folks having mixed results here with some of your platforms. Again, I haven't executed a trade in Thinkorswim yet here. Everything looks to be okay and normal. Voodoo here saying his Thinkorswim is working fine. Trade the pool. Shout out to them. This so far has worked fine. Both of those fills on that entry and exit were very, very fast on a fast moving stock, given the environment we're in. Looking pretty good here. ZVRA. Let me take a look at that real fast.
Yeah, we just had to wait in this one. That one broke out.
There it is. Zebra. Bob says Zebra is going. There we go.
Mm-hmm. And they're ornery too, so be careful.
Anthony's saying, Anthony was saying, I think this is for Nvidia because the numbers make sense. A 99.6 break to 101.50, then fade. Anthony, that was pretty much exactly what I was looking for. Let me go back to Nvidia. Did we break that here? Yeah, we sure did.
Huh?
Well, what I was looking for was a break to those highs and then another pullback. Now, I don't know. We did, at least so far, we haven't got the number that he had mentioned, but we absolutely got the break that he was mentioning. And that's what I was trying to trade there for. Here's the thing, though. I'm going to have very, very specific plans on day trades. And if they don't work, I'm going to be out of it. This is not a day. If something all of a sudden turns around and we get slammed, I'm not sitting through that. Forget that. I'm going to be as nimble as possible. If I get something that works in my direction right out of the gate there, then we can maybe scale and sit on it. But I'm not buying something and sitting on any type of downdraft. Nvidia looks like it's going for 100 here. So that did end up working. I was just out of it too quickly.
Yep. 101.50.
Eric reporting his toss is good to go. So we're getting plenty of mixed reports there. Good stuff.
Yeah, we just barely ticked over 100 on Nvidia. I like that.
Off, yep.
I like that 101.50 and then reverse. That would be the gap. Filling the gap and then turning around. Seen it a lot of times in other stocks. It's entirely possible it could happen with Nvidia.
I'll tell you what. I'd feel pretty good about playing that one if we get that. If we get up to that level there, I'd feel pretty good about that.
Sold my Disney puts too early, but that's okay. I mean, I had these things under 10 cents. And now they're over 50.
You did? Yours were
and now they're over 50 cents. So and I had a bunch,
so those were cheapies. Yeah, the November puts that I have, I paid 135 for. They're printing 3 at the moment. CrowdStrike here. I would love to hear if anyone traded this or bought this today or Friday. I'd love to hear what your thesis was. This is one that I would have absolutely stayed away from. However, today's performance looking pretty good out of the open there. Nvidia continuing to move higher here. That 101.50 call might be money. Robert, we are right against key support levels on a lot of tech stocks. Smoke Tuna mentioning CXAI. That's another smaller stock here. That's moving.
I think with CrowdStrike is that it hits a couple of different indicator levels I had here. One of them being the 500-day SMA, the other being a level at 209.78 and reversed off of those. So that's a pretty strong bounce. I'm going to need to see it get over 240 in order to feel comfortable about going long here. Okay. But we'll have to wait and see with that one. But that move off of the 500-day SMA is pretty strong. RSI is still super low too.
Look at Nvidia. This is almost at, look at that, 101.35. So 101.45, you're going to get your 101.50. Here you go. There it is. And through. Great call on that, whoever that was. So what did we say? You think this is a short now? I mean, God, this looks stronger. This looks super strong.
Well, if you have a lot of buyers, that's great for sellers. So, I mean,
Nvidia if that's the plan, highs here now.
Yeah, but if that's the plan, that's a great. I mean, if the plan was to just buy Nvidia and sell it when it filled the gap, then the plan worked, and you should be selling now. If that's your plan, if your plan is to continue to hold it and see how high it goes, I wish you luck.
Nvidia continuing to push here. This is super strong. Super strong here. Let's see if we can actually get a regression back to the mean here. So we did pull about 30. Here we go. I was a little too slow on that. A little too slow on that.
All right. Lost 101.50. It's back above it. It's just kind of hovering around that level now.
Stay focused, saying Ryan, data. Are you looking for specific data? ISM non-manufacturing prices for July 57 versus the 56 estimate. CB employment trend. I mean, what data? What are you asking about there? Stay focused. Sorry, not clear enough on that. By the way, that 102.50 move that Nvidia made to, we've pulled off that by about $1. Although this is not breaking down.
Oh, Jay Rice, I feel you, man. That is an awesome play too. But hey, hard to be mad when you're making that much money, right? To worry about the gains that you could have had. Your trade worked. That's all that matters. You made money off it, and you're good to go. Excellent trade, dude.
All right, so.
Stay focused. I think the rip is just basically the overselling. The algos are like, hey, look, RSIs are just they're going absolutely bonkers low. Let's pick up everything we can that makes sense.
Okay, shorted Nvidia right here. We'll see if this really breaks above. It's small. If this really breaks above, we'll close it. But I'm really hoping for a regression back to the mean here. Let's see what we get. Might have just. I hope I didn't just run in front of a train. If this really blows through this, I'll close this out. There we go. There's a little bit of a drop. There's a little bit of a pullback. I'd like to see this below 100, frankly. I'm doing this in small size until I get a feel or until I feel better about it. Then I can start increasing size. Oh, come on. Really quick action here on Nvidia. We'll see if this might go higher right here. Yeah, that took out a bunch of stuff right there. We'll close that one. That was about flat. Again, just kind of doing real small size until I get a better feeling for what's going on. Nvidia back to 96.75 is what I'm watching. Okay, so Cade Father, you're looking for a move here from a 101 handle back down to a 96 handle. That would actually be a really good intraday short there if you get that.
That'd be great.
Robert saying if it goes below 100, increase short sale, Livermore round number. That's Jesse Livermore that he's referring to. And here we go. Nvidia is moving back down here. So we get pretty decent short spot there. Thanks to you guys for calling those levels out here. We waited for it to overshoot a little, took some on the downside.
That gap fill, that was the whole trade right
that was
there.
it. You guys were all over it. Looking around at the rest of them. I haven't even looked at Twitter yet. I bet they're losing their minds. Haven't even looked at it yet. We have been so busy. I have not even peered at it. See, I see some people talking about VIX products today. I feel like if you're buying VIX today, you're doing it wrong. Like, I feel like VIX had to be nibbled on or taken ahead of the big move like this. I don't think, maybe if you're just scalping those back and forth, that's one thing, but I don't think buying VIX today is the move.
That's another thing that's been often mentioned is buying the VIX, down around 11 or 12. That's what some of the more seasoned gentlemen in happy hour chat were talking about doing. And they did, as a hedge, they did it. And we'll find out how well they're doing, but I'm sure they're doing just fine right now. Man, that's crazy. I haven't looked at the VIX today yet. I just knew that it was up, but wow, I didn't realize it went up that much.
It doubled. It was up 100% this morning when I woke up and turned on the TV.
It tripled. 20 to over 60, that's a triple. It's amazing. Those that bought the VIX or any options related to that, you did awesome. I think that one gentleman on Thursday and Friday, Joe something, he was talking about SQQ and VIX. That was absolutely the call.
Okay.
Oh man, Amanda, you're doing awesome too. The only
Yeah,
thing
sorry, I'm handling some stuff here. So thanks, 13.
the only thing that I held on to over the weekend was SQQQ. I closed out my Disney and Boeing puts on Friday because they had done so well. They're doing a lot better today, but they did really well on Friday. So I was like, I'm not going to be a hero. I'm just going to, take my gains, just sit on the SQQQ in case anything happens, and I'm good to go. So that was a little bit too safe. Still did really well with the SQQQ, but missed out on some money with those puts, which is fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
This is fine.
This is fine.
I just have the picture of that dog sitting in the burning fire here. Okay. Okay. Seem to be caught up here. Good stuff. Okay. Sorry about looking away there. Let's see. What other stocks do we need to take a look at here?
Oh, gosh. Yes. Okay. Getting asked about Ford. Where would we be? Yeah. Where would we want to buy Ford for a long-term play? Lower than here, to be honest with you. I don't know when or what's going to pull it underneath 8, but under 8 is where I'd prefer to start going long, and it could even go lower than that. So somewhere between 6 and 8, I think that's where I'd be happy picking up Ford. So a little bit of a ways to go. I don't think this is the bottom, even though we kind of are double bottoming in the stock right now on the daily chart. I want to see what happens over the next several days with Ford, because there is a gap fill to the upside all the way up to 10 that it could still do and maybe reverse there. RSI is pretty low at 20.5, so we might see some buying, but I think that's going to be short-lived. I still think that Ford could go lower, especially if we're facing a recession.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that's interesting about this is that this is right at a support level. So we'll see if we bounce here. I know you just highlighted the RSI there. The other thing is that this thing has been in a parallel channel that has actually made for some pretty decent trading over several years. I'd like to get back to that here before we start making some cases for how to long this. Nvidia, here, let me go back here real quick. Nvidia, this was the Ford chart as well. Nvidia is continuing to come back in. I'll tell you what, I might just start following the chat on some of these trades, because you guys called this perfectly on the way up, and it appears that you have called this perfectly on the way down. Shout out to all of the people in there that didn't get offsides on a position. We told you today was going to be volatile. We told you that there was going to be a bounce. Maybe we retest some of those lows. Looks like the market is pulling a little bit here. We'll see. We'll see. It might just be kind of a regression off that first bounce there. What did I miss here real quick? I love that you guys are so active here today. I can't even read all of your comments here today because you guys are just so active.
Yeah, Roberto, you absolutely hit it on the spot. This group here today absolutely nailed Nvidia.
Yeah, you guys, and I'll tell you what, you know what else? This is giving me confidence for the rest of the week. You folks are giving me confidence. Think about that for a sec. What channel do you get that at? Speaking of this channel, Love Hate Stocks. Boy, is that a relatable handle. Is there a Discord for this channel? So there isn't a Discord for this channel. The reason is because we have our own platform called Benzinga Pro. And yes, there is a channel in Benzinga Pro for this. It would be Benzinga TV. Also, you hear me referencing the happy hour a lot. There's a happy hour channel. These guys are all over it here today. So no, there's no Discord for this channel. We have an entire ecosystem of traders that is available. And guess what? If you're interested in joining any one of those communities, the man to talk to is in the chat right now, James Santangelo. So be sure to reach out. James, if you're still out there and you want to throw your contact information in the channel here, please do so. All right, let's get back down to the trading action here. Market still coming in a little bit. So what do we think about Nvidia at VWAP? 96.5. What do you think?
Let me take a look at a smaller time frame here, because I've only been looking at the daily charts.
No, right. Lion Atlas says, hello, team. Are you all broke? Lion Atlas, I'm going to change this a little bit and say good morning before I ask people if they're broke. But the answer is no, because our group has been doing really, really well here. We stomached that gut punch that we got on the huge gap down. We stayed focused. We realigned our chi, and bang, we're doing really well here today.
Yeah, Lion Atlas, it's been a great morning. I'm glad to see you here with us.
Oh,
And,
look at this. James always leaves the shows running in the background. Folks, if
nice.
you need help becoming a part of the Benzinga ecosystem, James is the man to talk to. James, thanks for hanging out with us. Would love it. Would love it if you help people get on board. Good morning, Jesse. Great to see you.
So the interesting thing about Nvidia and its VWAP, I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, and I can see that the VWAP is right about in the same area where the pre-market support was at about 96.
Yeah,
So
good spot.
it could go right back down to that support, and I don't know that it's going to hold it or not, but it seems like it could. So if you are wanting to go long, I think the spot to go long on would be 96. If you think that it is going to reverse at that support level, otherwise, just continue to play your short out. If you think it's going through, it'll go through VWAP, it'll go through that support level at 96. Just hold your shorts if Nvidia, if that's what you're playing, if you think it's going through that. Otherwise, the bounce is coming at around 96, I believe.
Okay. VIX is putting in its first bounce of the day here. So it looks like we bounced kind of off that 42 handle. It looks like we're trading up here into a 43 handle. We'll see if the VIX really gets going again. Market has come in from that first bounce. So this is what I want to see. Do we take a break here or do we bounce more? Sorry, 13.
Pro mentioned M goal about to go. It looks like it's trying to push through this consolidation right now. It looks like the 425 area is about where the breakout's going to occur. I can see that there's a bunch of sell orders there and at around between there and 430. So if it can start chewing through that, take out some of those sell orders, and we could see this thing start to move up and take out that intraday high of 457.
Okay. Let's see if we end up getting it here. I kind of want to try some of this just to kind of get crazy.
Looks like Nvidia, did it actually trade down to VWAP and then reverse? Did we actually get that move that I was talking about? That'd be crazy if that's what happened. I just noticed that there was a wick that went down there. I don't know if that's an anomaly or not.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still watching MGOL here. I think we actually...
It did. I can't believe it. So that VWAP that I was talking about, 96, that was the spot apparently.
Yep, reversed. Be careful. It's thin and did a lot of a move pre-market, so not sure there's much left here for the morning. But I'm with you though, Smoke Tuna. It actually does look like this is kind of holding and wants to go. Really good advice there, though. Be careful. Good morning, Rustam. It's great to see you. Hopefully you're doing well here today.
Hello.
Actually, I might fall out here on MGOL. Look at this bounce on Nvidia. I'm gonna switch this up here real quick. Look at this bounce on Nvidia. Did not quite tap my VWAP exactly, but the area was exactly right. The thesis was exactly right. Here is MGOL. Looks like this came in a little bit. 420 looks to be that area it needs to break.
Where's Wisdom?
Probably catching up on some sleep.
Oh, Lion Atlas, you're going heavy on Mag 7s? Well, I guess AMD is not one of them, but basically all the let's see, Nvidia, AMD, Microsoft, and Amazon.
Tom, I love hearing this. Even though the market is getting destroyed, this channel is the place to be. My morning therapy getting me through an ugly red day. Thanks, guys. So one of the reasons that I'm super thrilled that you brought that up, not just because you're complimenting us will get you everywhere. But besides that, when I was, coming of age in this business as well, it was the days where everyone was scared, where I didn't have a group, that were the worst for me. That's when I made my worst decisions. It's when I didn't process information correctly. And I learned that kind of keeping a better attitude is extremely helpful for your mental health and for your trading portfolio. So I try to bring that here to the show. 13 does a great job of doing the exact same thing. We're very much aligned in our vision and our use of humor, I would say. So I will keep trying to do that. Let's take a look here. I'm going to roll through just the broader market tickers here. So SPY did come back into its VWAP, but did not break down. So that's good. Maybe we'll bounce again. Q's doing the exact same thing. Let's look at the IWM. IWM looks the same. So all of these indices seem to be moving the exact same way, or with the exact same type of movement. AMD went green, Jay. Wow. Yeah, it did. Wow. So Jay, what do you make of this? Do you think AMD did that because it was more of a laggard than Nvidia? What do you think here? Nvidia not quite green yet, although to be quite honest with you, this looks like this might be trying. Marcelo asking any thoughts on Hood. So first of all, you can see the move that we've had. I do have some thoughts. Let me give this to you real quick. 13, if you got anything really pressing, please interrupt me. But let me give you some thoughts here on Hood real quick. Thanks for bringing this one up. We recently talked about this one in Happy Hour for a couple of different reasons. I'm going to kind of fill you in there. First of all, we all know about Hood allowing you to trade stocks, Bitcoin. We know the pros, the cons, the bad stuff that's happened, the good stuff that happened. Really, the question is can this grow? Can this company get more money under assets under management, whatever it is? Can they get more deposits? And can they offer more trading products? And one of the interesting things here about Robinhood is we talked about the potential of not necessarily sports gambling, but something similar where players have a value and you basically trade the players on an exchange and profit that way. If that takes off, I think something like that would be an ideal candidate for Robinhood. Robinhood, unlike some of these brokers, wants to take a lot of these altcoins, wants to take a lot of this other stuff. And I would suspect that would go very well if there's another kind of type of trading or betting class that really takes off. Now, from a chart perspective here, after this washout, this actually looks really good. Let's see what we can do here about reclaiming this 200-day, and let's put that against the backdrop of what the market is doing. If the market is getting, sold into over the next few days here, a 200-day reclaim might not provide the juice that we're looking for. But if things really kind of stabilize and we start to move forward here and we recapture the 200-day, Hood actually not a bad swing candidate. Let's see how it shakes out, though.
That's good to hear, Lynette. Listen, hey, you've been in the market that long. We're going to want to, defer to you from time to time because that's experience we like to have.
Interesting. Ryan saying there was a football soccer player trading market in Europe that went completely bust and lost a lot of people a lot of money. That's interesting. I'd like to know a little bit more details about that because if it was the way that thing was managed, I'd understand. The people in the UK love betting. So I'm actually surprised to kind of read this. That's actually pretty good data, right? Ryan, if there are any other sources or maybe just keywords for me to Google, I'd read about that. I'd read about that in some of the off time. Jeff, taking the counterpoint here, at least part of it, or giving a con. Hood is an awful platform. 4 Nvidia orders stuck, could not cancel. Then they filled, lost $1 on the trades. Okay. So I have caveat on what I was just saying about Hood here. I don't have an account. So I don't have this kind of firsthand intel that Jeff is providing. Jeff, I agree with you. If this happened to me, I would be so mad that the bull side almost wouldn't even matter. Like the positives, the things that they were trying to talk up, it almost wouldn't even matter to me. This is good intel though. Looks like several of you guys are having football index. Okay, thank you, Ryan. I will look that up. Looks like several of you are having login issues. Yikes, guys. I hope that you folks that are going through that are okay. Login issues, day like today, no bueno. No bueno. Are you asking if Intel is good? Intel has its own problems. Let's let some of those problems kind of shake out before we start doing that. Let me take a look around here real quick. Nvidia. Okay, so this is one more thing to note here. We've bounced off that VWAP on Nvidia, but we have not set a higher high. So I would say that until we do that, we might kind of still roll this back over. I think if we start bouncing, we start setting higher highs on some of these bounces, I think that bodes very, very well for some more upside.
For the question about is SERV setting up, if I look at a daily chart, it doesn't really look like to me it is. I would say that it looks like it's just getting a pop, filling the gap, and it's filled. I don't know how high it's going to go, but I wouldn't be confident in this move up. I'd need to see some more days like this, a little bit more upside to be confident about going long. I'm not sure about SERV, what it comes down to. So I really can't give you a good opinion, but I don't think it's going to have too many days where it goes up from here. I think it needs to come in some more. Sorry, I couldn't give you a better opinion.
But you did the best.
I did the best I thought I could. All right. What are we looking at now? Still looking at a bunch of red. Wow.
Yeah, you know, the other thing that we should kind of keep in mind throughout the course of today. By the way, serve does look like this is trying to go higher here. The one thing we should keep in mind here today is that I know it's like kind of a big move, but it's, you know, corrections are good. These have happened in the past. They're going to happen again. And if that is what we find ourselves in, good. Like, let's just kind of adjust to that situation, be patient, and be tactical about it. This is kind of what I was going back to earlier. Don't react. Don't use your emotions to react. Instead, be very, very methodical. Chris just said it earlier here. I completely agree. This is great. This is definitely a stick to the plan kind of morning. You know, I'm looking at MGOL and I'm looking at some other things here. I'm thinking, boy, I really want to trade these. Maybe I ought to just stick to a plan, and not complicate matters here. Robert, this is another really good point here. We made our money early. We don't need to keep trading. If that's the case, Robert is giving you some real sound advice here.
Yeah, and you know, we get in broader markets, we get roughly 10% corrections every 13 or 14 months. And it's just a natural thing that the markets do to maintain healthy, continue to help go up. Sometimes you get larger movements and you get bear markets, and that's probably what we're going to be heading towards at some point here soon. But those are just going to be buying opportunities, and just got to be patient. And that's really all there is to it.
And that's what I was saying earlier, 13. What would be ideal is if this correction, like, let's just say, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but let's say that this does turn out to be a correction. The best possible thing would be that it happens fast, right? That's kind of like what we saw at COVID. We had a V bottom.
Oh, yeah.
The market absolutely ripped. Anyone that was buying any of those COVID bottoms did very, very well. I know it was tough with the media selling you that the end of the world was coming with a flu pandemic. I understand it was difficult, but the reality is that those V bottoms often produce opportunities that are just absolutely incredible. Didn't you have some ridiculous bottom tick buy like on Microsoft or something? Like it was I
bought on the low of the pandemic.
Yeah. The low day of the right. Yeah. That's wild. That's wild.
And that was not by design. That was just, you know, me going along with the plan of like, hey, when I have, you know, we have market weakness like this, you got to, you know, go get your shopping list together and buy the strong names. I was buying a bunch of different names when we were getting that weakness in March of 2020, and I just happened to pick Microsoft and Verizon on the day the market bottom. So it was lucky, but because of the plan, it helped me with that luck.
And the harder you work, the luckier you get. That is a universal concept that I've noticed, especially in the market here. Okay, so Nvidia, you see, let me just zoom in here. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier. There we go. We're making a lower high off this bounce. We did roll over. We'll see if we end up taking this out here. But if this kind of keeps rolling over, I think we probably have a date with 91 here on Nvidia at some point. And then if we break that, man, I think that could really spook some people. We'll see, though. Ryan here asking, do you see a recession bear market in an important election year? I think the end of the year will be interesting. I completely agree with you, but one of the things I can say confidently is you will not hear people on television saying that we are in a recession until the market is, or excuse me, until the election is over. That is a death blow for the political parties that are in office. There's no way that they're going to admit that. They're going to fight that from the opposite side. I don't think that you're going to get an honest discussion of recession until after the election. That's my hot take for the day, I suppose. I do agree with you, though. The end of the year here is going to be fascinating because what if we do have kind of a bear market? Or what if we do have a recession in 2025? That's going to end up playing itself through the market, and it's going to be up to us to figure out how to play that. So I think you're on the right track here, Ryan. I think you're on the right track here. Crowd went green. How are your puts printing money line? Oh, come on, Jay. I'm not trying to read stuff that's Josh and other people. We don't need that. That's my own fault. I should have pre-read it. ZVRA, that one from the list here, rolling over.
Yeah, and MGoal trying to figure out if it wants to do the same.
I will say, other than the MGoal setup that Tuna gave us earlier today, which ended up not working out, by the way, Tuna had also said, be careful. This came back down to VWAP. Other than that, really haven't seen anything in some of these smaller names that I've liked. I do think that the larger names that we're all accustomed to are probably a little bit more fun here today. And also portfolio not looking nearly as ugly as it was in the pre-market. Again, really glad I didn't take any type of emotional reaction to what was going on there. Stick to the plan.
Yep. Looks like MGoal is going to try for another push into the fours, trying to get over VWAP at the moment.
So here's so Walter Lyon saying best day of the year so far. That's what we want to hear. That's exactly the type of stuff that we want to hear. Siddhartha saying, what would your advice be to somebody who is starting to invest right now? Well, okay, I can't give you financial advice, but what I can give you in terms of just kind of looking at markets, when stuff is fast moving and reactive like it is right now, if you're a newbie, watching this is probably the best bet. I know that a number of the group members have correctly said that volatility is a trader's friend, but really that volatility can slice both ways, right? It can really help you if you play it correctly, and it can really, really hurt you if you don't. So if you're new, watching some of these interactions, following some of this news, probably the best thing to do. If you really want to feel active, then maybe paper trade this and see how you do. Because, hey, if you take a position and then in the blink of an eye, you're down several $1,000s and that's meaningful money to you, kind of factor that into how this is going to go. So again, my big piece of advice for everybody, you don't have to be a hero today. If it makes sense, great, do it. But if it doesn't, don't force yourself. Don't force yourself.
And, this is a good opportunity to start, if you're new to trading, to, spend some time on your education of these markets. Ask around what seasoned traders are doing so that you can understand what their thought process is. What are they holding? What are they not buying? Try to ask questions when you see, big moves with days like this, and see what all of the other seasoned people are doing. And that'll help you further your education and your understanding of how to trade these markets.
Yeah. Observe, don't force. I like how you summarize that. You know what? I think that will work for trading here, but I think that'll actually work for a lot of different other areas in life, right? Just be more of a listener, observe, and don't force things. I think that's sound advice all the way around. SPY here back to its VWAP and through its VWAP. So look here on the SPY. We also have lower highs post that first bounce. Let's check out the Qs. Looks exactly the same. Let's take a look at Nvidia. Giddy up. That looks the same as well. So at least so far, we've made sense of what's going on. Here's IWM also back at its VWAP. We've made sense of what's going on. Now that we've made sense of things, realize that it can change. But if you feel confident in the way things are going, now that we've kind of waited out some of that, or we've waited for the dust to settle, that was a theme that we were talking about earlier. Maybe now is a little bit safer to take and try and take some of those trades, but only if you have a plan. And if you have a plan, stick to it.
Man, this is some fun stuff.
It really is. Look, I got to be very careful about how I say things here, because I'm sure that there are people that are pretty heavily invested that don't think today is fun. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but the reality is like, I want to see some of these corrective moves, right? I want to see some of the moves that are going to put us back in a situation where things make sense again. And that is fun for me. And I'm watching all of these different price changes here. And I agree with you, 13. To me, fun is the operative word. Now, I'm not super active here, so I'm not panicking. I'm able to just kind of process things, understand that if I'm going to trade things here today, it's going to be with tight stops, and that's okay. That's okay.
The trades I've done today are pretty far. So, okay. I had SQQQ, as I was mentioning earlier. I've sold pretty much almost all of that. So I'm almost done with that.
Okay, awesome.
The only two day trades I've had are VRA and Palantir. That's it. I'm waiting to see if I'm going to get this trade to work in MGOL. If not, that'll be my first losing trade. But if it works out, then I'll probably be done with my morning. But that's what I've been trading today.
Yep. And I mean, look, here's some more advice Here's some more context on this discussion. Robert saying, good to have your levels before the market. That will give you confidence.
Absolutely.
Robert, bingo, spot on. And this is actually one of the reasons why we break down, why we format the show the way we do. We talk about the SPY, we talk about some of the levels, we look at some of the movers, we talk about those levels, try to have those levels prepared for the day so that you can kind of focus more on what's going on. Really sharp point here. Smoke Tuna, it's a day to stay away from trading. If you just, or if you want better, just use 10%. So I think what you're saying here, Tuna, is it's okay to walk away if you're not feeling it here, especially on a day like today. But if you feel like you have to play, maybe reduce size, use 10% of what you normally do. Don't put yourself in a position where you're worse off than you were when you came in here today. Anthony saying, I want opportunity. Indeed. And if you have a plan and you have the ability to take advantage of that, you absolutely should do that. But if things aren't making sense to you, you'll have opportunity in the future. Don't force it. That's pretty much where we're going there. We're very excited for the Benzinga live trading contest. Hope that you do very well in that. I'll be honest, for me, whenever you slap contest on something, it makes it more difficult. Maybe that's why I never really had a chance of becoming a professional athlete in any regard. When the pressure builds, pressure bursts pipes sometimes.
Vintage tool restorations. What I do is I like to just basically look at a daily chart, an hour chart, and then 5-minute charts. And I'll look for highs and lows. Just looking to the left, I'll look for their highs and lows. I'll look for consolidation. Depending on where the price is in relation to that consolidation, that's going to be a demand or a supply zone. And that's basically what I do for levels. I also use moving averages too, EMAs and SMAs. EMAs for day trading, SMAs for longer term, investments. All right, and goal is done. It looks like so that is not going to work.
Just looking around here,
the whole thing with where I look for levels is just basically going to longer time frames, shorter time frames, look for those highs and lows, the consolidations, and that's how I get my levels and my moving average. That's how I get my levels, and then I just watch volume, watch the price action, and if it looks like it's starting to go towards one of those levels, then I have a good opportunity to sell out just before those, because I don't want to actually put my limit orders at those levels. If a price is going up to a previous high, there's a good chance it might not make it all the way up to that high. So I want to get out just before that. So I'll, set my my orders to be just before those highs. And that's just basically it. Go look at different time frames, look at levels, look for consolidation. That's going to tell you where where the price action is going to be.
Good stuff there. Good stuff there. All right. Usually supportive of the daily SMCI, reasonable level. Finally, let's take a look here. SMCI. Let me actually mute my notifications. That might be able to help me focus in here.
Oh, I appreciate that. And it really just is a matter of looking to the left. For my EMAs are the 9, 15, 65, and 200. For my SMAs, I use the 20, the 50, the 200, and 500.
Real quick here, David saying, Ryan, I love your humility. Lots of traders I follow have zero. Okay, so this is an important thing too. This is actually something that I've discussed with 13 behind the scenes, just in regards to presenting ourselves in front of people. My view on this entire internet stock trading thing is that without a doubt, honesty is the best policy. And one of the reasons for that is because I've actually been hurt in the past when I was young, when I was, new to this. And so I always said to myself, instead of showing, flashy things, and instead of saying, oh, you can buy a Lambo and I'm going to be flying around in a Bugatti, like none of that stuff is helpful to people. Like to me, I've got my best information from other people when they told me about things that went wrong and what to look for and how to not take huge missteps. And they were honest with me about some days just getting smoked. I mean, the first time that I heard a story about one of my trader friends that lost $2 million in a day, I was like, my brain broke. Like I could not I could not think about how I'd be able to handle that if that were my own self. So my whole thing here, honesty is absolutely the best policy. And the reality is that I came from the same position that a lot of you did. I didn't come from a Wall Street family and a background where I had a whole bunch of finance experience. I learned on FinTwit and YouTube and spent time reading and talking to people that were smarter than me. So I know it can be done. And it's important to me to be able to share with others that the same thing can be done. You don't need to act like you're the best and saying, I have 6 Ferraris, just listen to me. Like, that is not productive, even a little bit.
That's a great point. Try to surround yourself with people smarter than you. It'll help you get lifted up. I swear that is probably one of the best things you could do for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be, if you're the smartest person in your room, you're in the wrong group.
Yeah, very well said. And that's exactly what I've done. I often think to myself, I walk out of a room and I'm like, damn, I got to pick my game up. I might have been the dumbest person in that room. But 13, that's really, really good advice. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you all the time. Okay, enough of the soapbox here. Sorry about that. I have had a lot of coffee. Like, I woke up and saw the arrows and I was like, oh boy, we're going to have a lot of coffee today. That's kind of where I'm at right now. MGOL, I think this might be done for the day.
Yeah, that was a losing trade for me. So that makes it 2 or 3 today. I guess if we count the SQQQ, I guess it'd be 3 or 4.
Luke, very simply put, I would keep waiting. If the answer to your question isn't terribly obvious, then I think that one of the things that you can do is just kind of wait it out. Read more, like we were just talking about. Read more, talk to more people, try to get confidence about something. If you don't have that, no problem in just kind of waiting.
Yeah, and
Brittany, really good piece of advice here too. Don't ever be afraid to practice in a paper account. Really good advice.
And if you are looking to get into something, but you don't want to, necessarily get into an individual name, but you think a particular sector is going to do well over a long period of time, ETFs are a great way to get started. It takes a lot of the, well, not a lot, but it takes a good amount of the guesswork out of, having to manage different individual names. If you just we were talking weeks ago, maybe even months ago, about how utilities are going to do well in the face of increased demand, especially when it comes to data centers, chip fabrication, electric vehicles needing charging. That was kind of the writing on the wall for us. And now look at these ETFs with that hold utilities. They're doing great. They're doing great. So basically just, look at ETFs for like sector ETFs. If you're looking for something to get started on, you don't have to wait for individual stocks to come down. Just start playing the sectors.
Real quick here, Tom saying, what's going on with EVgo? I know they had call sweeps on Friday. Couple of things here. So those call sweeps that you're talking about, they also had Needham reiterate a hold on that on Friday. At least that came through here on Friday. So I look at the price action here today, and I think EVgo really kind of traded down with the market, or tech, whatever you want to link it to here, and then kind of bounced back. So I think this is just right back at the level it was from Friday, post that reiteration from Needham. The big thing for small stocks that I think is going to be really, really important is cash. It's going to be very, very difficult for these companies to borrow cash. A lot of them are probably going to have to lay off some of their workforce in order to keep costs down. So if you're looking at these stocks that have cash on the balance sheet, good place to start. Sorry, what was that, 13?
EVGO has cash.
There you go. And that's probably why it's holding up on a day like today, right? Mm-hmm. You just got a reiteration. Balance sheet is intact. Giddy up.
Yeah, and interestingly, it still has some revenue. Just a matter of getting their costs down, so that they can, be net positive. But, they're not burning through too much cash. I mean, they're losing roughly 10 million a quarter. That's okay when you consider that their cash position is 175 million. So that runway is pretty long. This could, and you look at a chart, this looks like it's actually really turning around. We just golden crossed back in late July. I'd be looking for a bust over the 500-day SMA, which is currently at 453.
Real quick here, Graal. This actually, put this on your watch list. This has an interesting daily chart here. We are making higher lows off the daily. This was a recent IPO, and it actually looks like we might have a level here that if we take this off, we could move higher. Excuse me. Got the mute button that time, baby. Got the mute, but didn't have to sneeze on nobody. There was one more thing I wanted to mention here real quick.
Oh, okay. I remember this one now. Early cancer detection. Does this use AI?
Yeah, this was the one that was spun off, I believe. Great.
Okay. Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of to say about it, about where levels are or anything like that. But using AI to detect early, cancer early, I think that we've talked about this a lot. I think that's going to be a big mover at some point.
Real quick here, Luke saying, all right, after our explanation of that, Luke said, all right, gotcha, 100K put on Nvidia. Okay, so I know that you're telling a joke / trolling, and it's funny because nobody said that. Like we were stressing being careful. This is the opposite of that. So clearly nobody sold that, but decent joke there. I actually had to double take that one. And Shaka's going to throw some gas on the fire and say, smart move, Luke. None of that was part of the discussion, just FYI. Just going to get that on record here. Let's look at some other names here. How's Eli Lilly doing here? Okay, Eli Lilly kind of returning back to lows. So we talked earlier about the dust settling. Things seem like they've really kind of calmed down here. So trades from here might be a little bit easier to kind of figure out.
Or they could be choppier.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I'm sure there's just, there's plenty of short sellers just waiting for everybody to be like, oh, okay, all the selling's done now. Let's all just pile into this and move this back up. And the short sellers are like, just you wait. I'd be careful.
Yeah, I don't want to participate in any type of trap action either. That's the one thing I'm trying to avoid without a doubt.
That would be what I would be trying to avoid as well, is just any of those stocks that look like they're going to just trap a whole bunch of people into higher prices and holding the bag.
Too hard to knock. Does anyone else see a correlation between the escalating conflict in the Middle East and the intensity of the sell-off? So I would say be careful with this one. The macro factors, the things that are happening on a global scale, definitely playing a role here, but I would be careful on how quickly you draw conclusions on that. I'm not sure that has anything to do with the intraday sell-off, but I think it's definitely a part of the larger sell-off.
It's a factor.
Yeah,
but
sure.
the fact that there's so many other things happening at the same time, like the yen carry trade is unwinding. That's happening. We're getting news about how the Mag 7, the whole chip theme is being completely upended with a delay from Nvidia. That's happening. Of course,
Buffett lightening his Apple position. Yeah. So we've got Blackwell problems in Nvidia. We've got Buffett selling a ton of his Apple, and then we have interest rate issues and macro Middle East. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
And 4 of the Mag 7 CEOs have been selling stock for a while.
That's right.
Bezos selling.
That's right.
I mean, they were telling us right away that the market was going to roll over. So I mean,
Bezos. Weren't you saying that Bezos had a track record of that?
He has a track record of that. Yes.
Yeah. So there you go.
So Bezos. I never can remember the Microsoft CEO's name, but he's
Nadella, Satya Nadella.
Nvidia CEO has been selling, and Zuckerberg was selling. All 4 of those guys were selling the past month when the stocks were at their all-time highs. I think that was the writing on the wall. And like I said with Bezos, he has a track record of when he sells his second tranche. That's when you know that the top for at least Amazon is in, but probably the whole market as well. This is the second time it's happened. Last time he did this, it was in 2021, and after the second tranche, we rolled into 2022, and we all know what happened that year. And we also had a war. So to your point about the Middle East destabilization, not unfounded.
Bitcoin here. Nice to see Bitcoin up off the lows. 54,275 on the futures there. I did take some gains on that Disney trade, so I finally sold a little bit of that, plus 100 and 130%. So really, really good stuff there. Still have plenty of time on that. We're going to hold a trailer for sure. VIX looking like it wants to roll over here. We'll see how this ends up shaking up. What do you think about Rocket here? Rocket actually at the highs. This was at the highs on Friday. It's looking pretty good.
This is all part of that that theme on cutting rates and housing, and you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do. But right as you said that, especially right when you said cutting rates, I read Shaka's comment literally at the same time here. And this is actually something I wanted to ask the group a little bit earlier, but I got sidetracked with all of the action. What are your thoughts about this? And 13, we can start with you if there's no one else in the chat that's ready to give their thoughts here. What are your thoughts on a potential emergency rate cut? Now, the reason I ask you this is because you said specifically that you thought the Fed should have cut before. So now that they didn't in their last meeting, now that you're seeing what's happening for the market here, do you think any different? What do you think about that?
Well, the secured overnight financing rate and the Fed funds futures are starting to price in an intra-meeting cut from the Fed. So there is a rising expectation on that potentially happening. So I think that bears watching. I felt that, well, in my opinion, I know I'm getting a lot of pushback on this, but I've been saying that they should have cut in June, and that would have done several things. I mean, sure, it probably would have started to unravel the yen carry trade a little bit quicker, but at the same time, you would have the Fed would have been able to avoid any politics or making it look like any cuts would be a political move. Because in June there was nothing happening. We did have that one out of the ordinary, debate, and we all know how that went. But usually there aren't debates in June, and that would have been the greatest time for the Fed to cut, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, and you bring up a really good point here because there's a couple of things we want to add to that here real quick. First of all, Fairchild saying emergency cuts would be perceived as political no matter what. Completely agree. Because you missed that window in June, anything you do between now and the election is absolutely going to be viewed as a political move. You're spot on there. Jay Rice also with a comment here that I agree. And this is something that's carried over from our happy hour discussion. An emergency cut, not sure if the market would like that. Nope. Because what does that signal?
Signals that the Fed was not only wrong, market uncertainty. You have a particular line you're waiting for me to say, but why don't you go ahead and say it?
No. You're literally hitting them. I was literally asking you because I knew the other thing here is that this shows that the economy is just not that strong. It's not as strong as it's being perceived. The consumer is weaker than we're being told. If we're cutting rates, that means the overall we're cutting because we need to help the economy out. If we're raising rates, it's the opposite. So Jay, I'd be curious to know what would you do in this situation if we woke up one day and we got an emergency cut? What's the calculus going on in Jay Rice's brain? Emergency cut signals more fear. Yes, bingo.
And it signals
weakness. Bingo. You guys are all over. You guys are doing so good.
Signals that the Fed broke something or that they were too late, which they absolutely are.
And they're always late. That's not a new thing for the Fed. Fed loves to be late. And maybe I shouldn't say they love that because that's me speculating. The Fed has always been late, traditionally has been late.
There's a very good
panicky. Jay, this is where I was going with that. I wanted to see if you thought the market would kind of be panicky. I am thinking from your comment, that's what you think here. I think you're onto that.
I wouldn't expect that the market's going to recover back up to the all-time highs we were making, just last month. To me, it seems like the market's going to, chop around and continue to go lower until the election. I think once the election happens and that gets out of the way, we'll probably see the market return. That's at this point what I'm expecting.
When you say return, do you mean like the volumes in the market, or do you mean like a trade up? Because I could actually see the market selling off after the election too.
The volumes will return before the election. Yeah, I think that the volume will return in September and October, but I think we'll bottom in late October, early November, and then we'll start to turn around. I think that November is going to be the turnaround month. At this point, that's what I believe. That can change. There'll be different, any new thing that comes up that changes that, I'll let you know. But at this particular point, based on everything that's going on right now, it seems to me like November is going to be where the market will start to turn around.
Luke saying, I lost it all, guys. Good game. Well, this is what I'll say. In trying to be positive, the world needs plenty of bartenders. So don't worry about it. You'll be all right. I mean, I don't think he actually lost it all. So I'm obviously okay. See what else is going on here. I will say that things were wild right out of the open, but so far they've kind of slowed up a little bit. We did bounce. We're kind of holding right here above VWAP, at least on the SPY. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of held in here like this for a bit and then maybe broke down later in the afternoon. I don't know. CMG continuing to grind higher there. Okay. Okay, that'll work.
Let me take a look at CMG. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting level. I guess at 5150 you can draw a line, but it seems that on its way down, that became that level right there became a support resistance area. Had a little bit of trouble getting back above it. Once we did, we broke out, hit the went through the 200 and touched the 20. Came back in. Now we're still trying to get back above it again. That seems like a pretty interesting level. And if you look to the left, you can see how that level was put in back in February.
Yeah, right here. It's as clear as day. Real quick, this might be my favorite comment of the day. Guys, or bro, I sleep in one Monday and this happens. LOL, WTF. Look, you better make sure those alarm clocks are working. All right, it's just overtime. Maybe if this continues to move forward here. Gerald, I'm laughing, but hopefully you're right, or hopefully you're okay. Excuse me. Here's the one thing on CMG. I'll give you a controversial opinion. Maybe it's not controversial, but I'll tell you what I think here on CMG. First of all, we're talking about trading this, and I still have calls on CMG. And actually, let me give you the expiry on those calls real quick. These are going to be the September 55 calls. Okay, so here's the one thing that I'll say on CMG. We've already reclaimed the VWAP once. Now we rolled back through it. Today is obviously an anomaly, has nothing to do with CMG. If we reclaim this VWAP a second time, especially given the magnitude of the drop from the gap down here today, we reclaim this 200-day a second time. I think that this probably continues to trade up, and I wouldn't be terribly shocked if this moved up towards 59. Wouldn't be shocked. Lots of trading platforms having problems. Yes. Multiple reports. Toss, Weeble, there were a couple of there. Jay's Life, good morning. Hopefully you're doing well. What do you think of ON? You know what? That is not a stock that we have looked at here today. Why don't we do that here real quick? So this is this. I always get these mixed up. So let me make sure. This is the performance sports brand rooted in. Yeah. So this is the shoes, right? ON shoes. Yes. Because yes. There's also an on semiconductor, and I mix those two up all of the time. So this has actually been a pretty good trade here. As long as Nike is out of favor, I like a lot of these ancillary companies. The other thing is that everyone that I've talked to that actually uses the product loves the product, like loves the product. I know there's not a direct correlation between product love and stock price, but this is actually a pretty decent chart here. We kind of have, I know it's a little janky in the middle here, but we kind of have like a cup formation here. Maybe if we moved down towards this 200-day, that would actually set up a kind of a janky cup and handle. Maybe. I'm not in a rush to buy this, Jay. I like the product. I know that a lot of people like the product, but I'm not. If the consumer is truly weakening, I would think a stock like this might still feel some pressure.
So on Friday, apparently Jim Leventhal told viewers on CNBC he had bought this company to go. He went long on it. So that's one thing that it could be helping this movement. The other thing is that it has high, pretty decent short interest with the high days to cover. So we're also likely seeing a little bit of a squeeze happening here too. So I think
shout out to you.
Yeah.
Shout out to you for that. Tons of price targets in the mid to high 40 handle. This one old? No, this is one from 2024 here, 55. It's actually beneath a lot of these price targets here.
Raymond James gave a 46 price target. That just was on last Wednesday.
Yeah. The other thing, I kind of look at the volume chart here. I like to see that this is kind of stepped up in terms of everyday volume, where the market has kind of gone the other way. We've seen volumes really kind of dry up. That tells me that there's more people looking at this. Jay, I like this. I'm not sure. I would actually think I'd like this to come in a little bit. I'm not ready to run out and buy this today, but I do like it. So what's your opinion on it? Good morning. Hope you're having a good Monday. Jay also mentioning a whole bunch of higher quality tech names up a lot from the lows. Let me go back here to Trade the Pool. We'll take a look at Nvidia, which has pretty much been the one that we're watching. We are no longer making those lower highs. Remember, I had said that earlier. We're no longer doing that. That's actually been broken now. This is kind of what we were on. We actually should get support from this trend line, dare I say. But you're right, Jay. A lot of those names are up. You think this is a trap? You think this is a trap, or are we coming, are we bouncing here? Is the V bottom in?
With on real quick, I would be watching to see if it gets back above its 20-day SMA and its 50. I'd like to see it recapture those before feeling comfortable about going long here.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Jay also bringing up a good point here about some of the retailers. Retailers have had a rough 2 weeks. Lululemon and Nike. I mean, look at these charts. Like, this is. Shout out there was a gentleman in our happy hour whose name is Andy, and he said in a 500 handle, 500, that Lululemon was going to make an amazing short someday. And here we are printing 231s. Just absolutely destroyed. Cut in half. Might be even more downside here. But to Jay's point, look at this is a top retail name. Look at the pressure this has been under. And Nike, we've talked a lot about this, even with the Olympic backdrop here. Nike really can't seem to bounce out of its area. So Robert saying it's a trap. Robert, I appreciate you answering Admiral Akbar's drop here. That was good form, mate. I love comments like this. When it's bad, my mom just called me to ask if I was okay. So my mom does this too. Sometimes she'll see something on the news. She'll be like, Ryan, I heard the stock market was really bad. Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry. Okay. We are out of time here. Boy, this really flew by. We are going to...
Because it was fun.
It was fun. We're going to redirect 13. We don't have a whole lot of time. Any closing thoughts here for the group?
Hey, stay safe today, guys. It's going to be a wild day. We're going to probably have a wild week. Just, don't make anything that's forced, and stay safe. I'll see you next tomorrow.
Yeah, really good stuff there on not forcing things. Remember, today is kind of the reactionary day. The market's going to be open tomorrow. The sun's going to come up tomorrow, and we're going to have a new situation to look at tomorrow. So I hope to see everyone back. Great stuff here today from everyone. For 13, I am Ryan. Oh, let me get this back over here. Have a good one, folks, and we will see you tomorrow.